some of the functions to the keys that are on the joystick, on the thrustmaster joystick. So now I'm using the throttle slider on the thrustmaster T16000 joystick for my throttle. It's got 6 buttons on the left of the joystick and 6 buttons on the right of the joystick. On the right, I'm using one of them for cycling the lock and the unlock of the tail wheel. We're going to go for the Gs. I'm practicing on the Bf109G series, either the G2 or the G4, so we'll go for the G4 now. And I'm specifically going to be trying to fight yaks in that by out-climbing them. I'm going to try and out-climb them, so it's going to be really interesting to see if that tactic's going to work or not. I've seen it work to great effect sometimes in multiplayer, so I don't really use that technique that very often. I'm going to use it religiously in this flight, and we'll see how we go. So I'm going to take this plane here, Hartmann and Messler. So Hartmann was flying this plane. I was just listening to Hartmann's autobiography, talking about his experiences and stuff. Pretty amazing. So yeah, with the 6 buttons that are on the left, I've got the top 2 assigned to the trim, the stabilizer trim up and down, and then the middle 2 I've got them adjusted to the flaps, flap up and down, and then the bottom 2 I haven't got them on anything just yet. So it's all working. I just tested it in single player. 100% fuel, that's what I'm taking these days at guns to 400, and just the headrest removed, and that's it. So yeah, let's get going. I'm going to fly west. Yeah, let's just check out that the rudder is working. Yeah, good. You see, the rudder is now working. It wasn't working just a minute ago when I tried starting a live stream. And my God, these rudder pedals are so freaking stupid. They're terrible. There's so much like clunky friction. You can't do a full stroke of pushing left or right without some kind of something going wrong. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. They literally get fucking stuck. It's terrible. Alright, what now? I was going to check out these 2, so if I can look down. Right now I can look down. Alright, so stabilizer trim, stabilizer up, stabilizer down, good, and rudder, sorry, flaps down, flaps up, good, it's all working, let's go. And of course I've got the throttle set to the joystick now. So I hope the audio is okay. Like, I hope I'm not too quiet, and I hope the engine's not too loud. So I believe I did not get a single ace in a flight while I was flying with that throttle, that thrustmaster throttle. Same goes for the rudder pedals, actually. So I mean, admittedly, it's been difficult anyway, because I'm kicked out of the I'm kicked out of 2 of the 3 most popular servers, so getting access to combat environments is difficult now. And I'm kicked out because of psychopaths, Machiavellian dark triad psychopaths. who I exposed, and then they went DEFCON 5 and destroyed my reputation in the community and smeared my reputation, and I was kicked out of those two servers, Combat Box and Finnish server, which is why I recommend that people don't play on those servers anymore, because they are pro cluster B, they're pro narcissist, pro psychopath. Instead, try out some other servers. So there's plenty of good other servers out there, try them out. And if you're running a server and you want some players and you want some exposure, and you like Western Front particularly, tell me about your server and I'll go and try it out. And if I like it, I'll fly on it a lot and give you lots of public exposure, and then you'll get famous. And then a lot of people will fly on your server, and then your server will be a success. That's what you made a server for, right? So that you could have lots of people flying on it. Well, if you want it to get populated and it doesn't have enough players on it, which I think is 99% of the servers out there, contact me and we'll have a look. And I'll have a look at your server and I'll tell you what I think about your server, okay? And then I might fly it on a lot if I like it. Because trust me, if I fly on a server, it gets popular. So there. And I really can't stand these pro cluster B servers like Finnish and Combat Box, particularly Combat Box. Finnish is still bad, not as bad as Combat Box. They're much more better than Combat Box, but they're still bad because they're still cluster B positive overall. They're still pro cluster B overall. So I definitely feel like I'm back in the swing of things now that I've effed off that bloody throttle. The throttle was just ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. It was a piece of crap. I'm probably never going to use it again. I mean, never say never, but I don't see the thing's just stupid and it's malfunctioning and everything. All right, so I was going to talk about something. I don't know, I just feel so much better to have the throttle back on the joystick. It just makes it's just working. I'm gonna probably get a throttle at some point, but it's not going to be that. I'm tempted to swear so much when I think about that bloody throttle. Tempted to just drop endless F-bombs throughout this whole stream. And what do I think about the T16000? I don't know. Let's see if I can get some accurate shooting with it. It's magnetic, it's 16-bit, but of course the VKB Gladiator is also magnetic, but it's 32-bit. So, do you know what I mean? So it's a little bit more sort of refined in the precision and that. I don't like the aesthetic. The best joystick I've had is the Gladiator, VKB Gladiator. I think V-Appeal is probably even better. Seems to be, well, it's more expensive, so. I'm really trying to encourage myself to leave flight sims altogether. I'm trying to. And to just be in real life. It's much harder to be in real life, but it's much better to be in real life. There's less easy dopamine to be had in real life, but you know, I'd rather have a plane like this in real life. Imagine that. Maybe it would have 65 horsepower instead of, you know, 1400 horsepower. But so on at least 2 occasions, if not more, Hartman claimed that the 109G model could outclimb the Yak, that the Yak could turn with the 109 and the Yak could dive with the 109, but it couldn't climb with the 109. He said that twice in his autobiography. So I'm going to test that out in this flight, you see. I just got to find the enemy first. An interesting thing he said, though, is he said on one occasion, he said that he was in a fight and he climbed against the Yak. And he had emergency boost power, and it was in the form of something like methanol and water. Or, yeah, like some kind of a thing like that. but it wasn't just for high altitude. It was just emergency power in general. And the interesting thing was, he kind of said that it was on the Bf109G. So I gather that he was talking about MW50. So I don't know what kind of boost he was getting. I assume up to 1.488. There's not that many players on the server right now, so there's that. I might have to cut the power. If anyone's attacking these bridges over here, then I'll be able to get them. Oh, by the way, I'm not looking at the chat. I haven't looked at the chat. I might try and bring it up in just a minute. God, that sun. 1808 is under attack. Well, that's very far in the north. Maybe I'm in the wrong spot. Look at this giant pile of crap here. What is it? It's like a mine or something. Open cut mine or a pile of coal or something. So Eric Hartman, whose plane I'm flying right now, he got the highest amount of kills of any air combat pilot in history. He had blonde hair and he was flying for Germany for the Luftwaffe. And I think he got 352 kills, something like that. It was at least 350 kills. And that's confirmed. He got others that weren't confirmed either. And after the war, he was captured by the Russians. Actually, he was captured by the Western Allies, but then they gave him over to the Russians. And then the Russians raped a whole bunch of German women and girls in front of him for a 2-week period. That was his introduction to the Russians. This is just when World War II had finished. I think it was in May 1945. And then he was shipped east into like Siberia kind of area, where he was put into a gulag, and he stayed in the gulag for I don't know how long, probably till 1955. 10 years I think he was in the 10 years in the gulag. And then he got out of the gulag, went back to the west, back to West Germany. It was East and West Germany by then. And then he flew for the Luftwaffe with NATO. And then at some point he left the Luftwaffe in protest over the Starfighter, is it Lockheed? Lockheed F104 Starfighter. Because the Starfighter was a controversial aircraft. Was it a disaster? I don't know if it was a disaster, but it kept on crashing and killing pilots, so it was having some problems. And in the acquisition of that plane, I think there were other ex-German Luftwaffe World War II aces that were now in the NATO Luftwaffe that were involved in the acquisition of the Starfighter F104, and it became political. There were politicians involved, and it became a controversy because the plane was like crashing all the time and stuff, killing the pilots. So, and he resigned over it. So there. And I think because, yeah, there's so many problems for Hartman in his career. Like, he got the highest score and everything, but I'm gonna have to cut the pedal. So good to have precise throttle control back again after that. I'm so tempted to start dropping F-bombs whenever I think about that ridiculous thrustmaster throttle. I mean, it was designed by Gollum. it was it was designed by Homer Simpson, maybe. You know that car that Homer Simpson designed that destroyed Powell Automobiles, Powell Car Company? His brother, his long-lost brother, was a self-made multi-millionaire who owned a car company. Powell, P-O-W-E-L-L, Powell. I think it was Powell. Not Simpson, I guess. Were they half brothers or something? And he had hair, and then he was like, "Homer, you've ruined me," because he trusted Homer, and he got Homer to decide to design a car for his company, and it was a disaster. It was a complete disaster. Like, he gave full design control authority to Homer over all of his expert car designers. Powell Motors did, the guy, Homer's half brother, and he had faith in Homer. He was like, this is what we need, a car designed by the everyman, designed by the average guy, the average Joe. Homer Simpson, the average guy, the average normie scum, right? And Homer just completely fucks it up. Homer, you've ruined me. So he bankrupts his brother's business. So that car that Homer designed, that's what the fucking thrustmaster fucking throttle is. It's that bad. Like, don't buy it. It is just shit. You won't be happy. Tentatively, I'm saying that the T16000, the throttle, the thrustmaster throttle, is good. I don't have a problem with it so far. But yeah, you know, so I kind of do have a problem with it, actually. I've got a spare joystick just sitting around here somewhere. It's the Airbus throttle, which is based on the T16000. It's just a different color and stuff. God, where's the enemy, huh? There's only 6 of them, that's why. I bought a second-hand one of those Airbus throttles. And you know what? Hey, I didn't mean throttle, I meant joystick. And of course it has the throttle slider on it, like all joysticks have a throttle slider on them. And I went to use it, and guess what? The throttle didn't work. The throttle didn't work. And so the Airbus model of the T16 Thrustmaster T16000 has some kind of a reverse thrust feature on it. I'm just going to go north, all the action's in the north. Reverse thrust feature on it, and that's fine, I guess, but that kind of added complexity to the Thrustmaster joystick's throttle slider had probably made it less reliable or something. But anyways, long story short, it was not serviceable. It didn't work. The throttle slider didn't work on the Thrustmaster Airbus joystick. Admittedly, it was second-hand when I bought it, but I mean, that's not a thing that should just not work. It should always work. It's not a thing that should break. So now that I think of it, yes, I do have a problem with the T16000. I had to buy, this one I've got here is the second one I've had to buy. The first one, the throttle slider on the joystick unit did not work. And so then I bought this second one, which came along with the separate throttle and of course the separate rudder pedals. And then I had all these problems with the throttle. Like, one of the problems with the Thrustmaster throttle is that you can't assign all the keys that you want to assign to it in IL-2 Sturmovik. So there's an incompatibility between IL-2 Sturmovik key assignments and the Thrustmaster throttle. Look, there's different types of Thrustmaster throttle. I'm talking about like the one that's just like the basic one, not like a really expensive one. Because I think the really expensive ones are probably better, probably pretty good, maybe they're acceptable. But this one here, it's just crap, you know. So yep, I'm just going north. I predict that I'll get better performance now that I've ditched that throttle. And so I'm now using thrustmaster T16000 joystick, and I'm using thrustmaster rudder pedals. That's all I'm using. And of course the throttle control is now just using the throttle slider on the joystick, as I said. So this has been pretty annoying. Everything's happening up north, way up in the north. So I'll go up there and hopefully the enemy won't switch positions down to the south. So yeah, Hartmann, after the war, he got shipped out to a gulag, and he went on a hunger strike because they were being treated so badly. Some huge amount of German army people, German soldiers that were captured by the Russians and put into gulags at the end of the war died. A huge amount of them died in captivity. You almost would not want to have been captured, really, because it was something horrendous and ridiculous, like in excess of 70%. It was like 80%, 90% of German soldiers captured by the Russians and put into gulags just died, and by the time they were released in starting from 1949, I believe, going out to when Hartmann was released in 1955. So between 4 years and 10 years later, German soldiers were starting to be released from the Russian gulags, where the temperature can be down to negative, like minus 50 degrees Celsius in the winter. It's unbelievably unimaginable low, snowy, icy temperature. Hartmann survived it, but while he was in it, he did a hunger strike, and the hunger strike kicked off a riot. And surprisingly, the locals that were out there in Siberia, the locals, were so unhappy with communism that they hated the way they were being treated by the regime. Surprisingly, Hartmann said, the locals were like the village next to the gulag, where the German soldiers and the Luftwaffe and that were being held captive. All the Russians in the village were supportive of the Germans when they rioted, when they protested. They took over the entire gulag, and they didn't kill anyone. I can see planes up ahead. They captured like the commandant of the gulag and all of the guards, and they locked them in the dungeon. And then they didn't leave the camp. They didn't make any attempt to escape. They knew that was futile. And the locals were on their side, giving them food and stuff, and asking them if they would give them weapons so that they could start, like, themselves rebelling against the Soviet government. That's how much the Russians hated the Soviet government, that they were on the side of the German prisoners in the gulag in the late 40s, early 50s. So, interesting stuff, huh? So what do we got up here? Is it a 110 shooting at the enemy or something? Oh, that's a bit better. Yesterday I was getting creamed by the LA5s. Today I've just F'd one of them right up. I got shot down 5 times yesterday by LA5s without getting any kills of my own. I've got a PE2 on my tail. He's got a gun that faces forward. Now let's do what I said I'd do. Let's start climbing. Try and go after that PE2. I still see him there. I thought he was a 110, but he's a PE2. Maneuvering, he's got a deadly tail gunner on him, so don't know what to do really. I just got to shoot him down. Oh, I did a lot better than yesterday, that's for sure. So, what can I say? Getting rid of that effing throttle has made all the difference. I feel like I'm back in the saddle. I feel like I'm back on my war horse again. I feel like I'm back in the back how I used to be. That throttle affected my performance so badly, so badly. That PE2, I would have sat further back with the machine. Once I run out of cannon, just sit further back, sit 100 meters back with the machine, because you've only got machine guns, and then just sit at 100 meters. Don't get closer than that. Just keep hosing him down with the MG17s, and hopefully that'll shoot him down. I suppose I should look at the chat now if there's anyone in the chat. So yeah, you know, having full control over your aircraft is bloody essential, and if you don't have it, there could be a reason why. I'm just going to try and bring up the chat now here. My apologies. There's someone's in the chat. Hello, Ghost. Hello, Skank Hunts. There's 2 commenters in the chat, and there's 4 people watching. Hello, everyone. Skank Hunt says, "Hi, Froggy. Howdy. Is this multiplayer?" Yes. Yeah, I got banned too, but made another account this sale. Yeah, trust me, it's this whole thing. It's a long story. But yeah, Ghost says, hello. Hello, Ghost. What happened with your voice previously? My voice? I'm not sure. Did something happen with my voice? What's throttle? Throttle is like your accelerator. Like in your car, you've got an accelerator. That's the throttle in the plane. Can you see the chat? Sorry, I wasn't here. I couldn't see it before, but now I can. Yeah. So I'll just say hi. Okay. In the previous stream. I don't know. I was really tired in the previous stream. I'd had a long day. Maybe it was that. I'm not sure. Is that what you meant by my voice? All right. So yeah. So I'm just so happy to get rid of that bloody throttle. I tell you what. And what about the rudder pedals? I'll keep them for the time being. I think they're superior to twist grip, probably. But these are definitely not the best rudder pedals in the world. So I actually, to be honest with you, compared to I prefer the ergonomics of the Cytec throttle. Sorry, the Cytec joystick's position where it puts its throttle lever is better than on the Thrustmaster T16000. On the Cytec, which by the way in Australia that's 3D Pro Extreme or something. What's it called? Logitech 3D Pro Extreme. The throttle lever on the Logitech 3D Pro Extreme joystick, the throttle lever is on the left-hand side of the joystick base. So it's, you know, for your left hand, and you're flying with your right hand. Right hand's on the stick, left hand on the throttle. It's good to have the throttle on the left side. But on the Thrustmaster, it's not on the left side or the right side or the front. It's on the back. So you kind of, it's going to take some getting used to. It's okay, but it kind of conflicts with where the wrist is. Oh, I got another kill. Destroyed Cyabra. So that was 2 kills I got. Which one was it, though? It must have been the PE2. Yeah, the position of the throttle here on this Thrustmaster T16000 slightly conflicts with where your wrist is. Not totally, but slightly. It's not perfect. I can see why they've done it to be ambidextrous, but it does conflict with where your wrist is. I should have taken off in the north as well. So we're going to have a few minutes more, but we're going to fly directly north and get into the action again. Yeah, you need to be able to have full control over your aircraft. Ailerons, rudder, elevators, trim, elevator trim, stabilizer trim, throttle, guns, machine gun, everything. Alright, somehow I now have 2 kills, which is great. Sounded like you were slowed down. Yeah, man, I was tired. I don't know how to explain it. It was streamed for 4 minutes. Okay, I get what you mean, maybe. Yeah, I know, I think that happened once before. I don't know what it was, but like a software thing or something. Some stream error. Then you streamed this live. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go back and listen to the stream. I did though, and it seemed fine. Let me know if it happens again. Alright, so we're going north. This is actually a World War I map for the World War I planes. but they're using it for the World War II. Defense of Arctic 1943 Part 2. Although this map here is actually in France. Here's the front line, the World War I front line here. You'd see all the names are in French. Chevreny, Corbeny, Crayonelli, Pontevert, Berry, Owl, Brick or something. Agile, Court, Gergian, Court, I can't speak French. Burgogne, Fresny, Loivre, Brimont, Pomacul, Bazan, Court, Witry, Les Reims, Saint Massemes, Epoxy, Berry. So do you see the difference? Yesterday I got shot down 5 times by LA5s and I got 1 kill only in the whole damn thing. Today, my first flight, I get a kill on an LA5. So you can see the difference. That there's other things too maybe, but mostly not. Like really we're talking about when you're fighting an LA5, for example, you need to be able to have good control over your throttle. If you can't control your engine power as effectively as you need to. One of the things with that thrustmaster throttle is that it gave you a disconnect between your understanding of what the power setting was and what the power setting actually was. So you weren't quite sure whether you had full power, medium power, zero power. Like it was hard to tell where your power setting was from the position of the throttle. It was not intuitive. So, and it was so slippery, it lacked friction. So you could just basically touch the throttle, like just going to put your hand on the throttle would move the throttle like 30% power up or down, just by putting your hand on the throttle. That is effed up, man. Like that's totally unacceptable. Like if you do that in real life in a plane, you're going to crash. Like you'll stall out, or you'll damage the engine by revving it too much, or you know. There's 10 other players out there now, so they've got to be somewhere. You know, I mean, I need a new. I would like to have a new. I've got a GoFundMe up and running to get a joystick. So please, everyone, help me to get a new joystick because I need a new joystick, a really good one. So I mean, since I've been shadow banned on YouTube, like half of my income is gone for 3 years now. More, for 4 years now, half of my income is gone. So anything I do on YouTube, it's not only am I doing it for free, it's costing me money. So, I mean, I love making videos and stuff, but nowadays I definitely don't make any money on it. So it makes sense for me to actually stop doing this. Like, from an economic point of view, it makes sense for me to stop making content, stop doing streaming, everything, and just go and focus on working in real life and forgetting about video games and forgetting about YouTube, because it's now, there's no economic justification for it. It's costing me. So, you know, I'm reluctant to do things like getting a good joystick, which would help me to stay in the game, because I sort of don't want to stay in the game. Look at this castle here. And there goes a PE2. That castle, I love that castle so much. The French have got the best castles, including the Cafard castles, and that one on the island on the English Channel at Normandy, or wherever, south of Normandy. Just look at that castle, how beautiful it is. It's like a Disney castle, only better, only authentic. An actual castle. See, that's how you keep that's how you have good boundaries. You have a castle with stone walls and a moat and everything. And my engine's damaged. So that PE2 arrived at the castle just as I arrived at the castle. And I shot it down, but now my engine's damaged. Still got a bit of ammo left, so not exactly sure what to do. I could go home, or I could keep flying. Oh, look, the flare just went off again. Does that mean another enemy's here? Maybe it does. There's a plane, that's probably the enemy, right there. What could it be? It's coming at me. It's an LA-5. because I'm just going to try and outclimb him. My engine's damaged though, and I have to go full power to outclimb, so I think he's going to shoot me down, but you never know. We're just going to try it, right? We'll try and outclimb him. No, he's on my tail. I wonder, can a G4 outclimb an LA5? He seems to be catching up on me, no problems though. G4 can outclimb a Yak, they say. That's what Hartman said, so it must be true. He would know, right? Did you see two enemy planes there? Was that a second enemy plane that came in? Right, so now I'll take off from the north in the G4. Right, so trying to get into that dogfight with that LA5, like trying to outturn it, was not happening. I couldn't outturn it. This is a G4 and I couldn't outturn it. Keep in mind I had like a lot of fuel, but trying to outturn it was a mistake. That just wasn't working. So the solution would have to probably be climbing at 100% power with a fresh engine that's not damaged. I'm not convinced that it was the LA5 that shot me down. I think it might have been a Yak or something, the second plane that came in. Alright, so I'm taking off from the north, so it's going to be a lot quicker to get to the combat zone. Only about a minute and a half or something. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to try and climb. Next time I get into some combat with an LA5, I'm just going to go full throttle and climb and climb and climb, and hopefully I'll be able to outclimb him. If I can, that'll be a major discovery. because so far the LA5 is better than the Bf109 in every way, pretty much. So if I can find out a way to actually defeat the LA5 all the time, like supposing that it can't climb, then that would be amazing. Alright, so just got to wait for an enemy to show up. And then shoot it down. So yeah, we're doing an experiment here. And it's going to be, whenever we get into a fight, just go 100% power and then just try and climb. I don't exactly know what my best climb speed is. I suppose it's probably about 250 or something. Maybe 300. Can become a member if this helps. Well, I say only the people that have a job and have some like savings should help me out. So I mean, yeah, so you bought a laptop from eBay and it was crap, got a refund, and somehow I kept the laptop, have the money to spare. Oh, I see. Nah man, that's fine, you hold on to that. You know, when I say like, can people help me out to get a joystick, I'm like, there's like, you know, if I look at my statistics of my YouTube channel, most of my viewers are about 70 years old, and those guys, they're boomers and they're rolling in cash. They don't just have money from a laptop refund. They have like $3 million in the bank, and they have investment properties in Sydney or Los Angeles or something. Do you know what I mean? Those are the guys that should be helping me out. Do you know what I mean? So, but you're so kind, man. Thank you for your like really nice thoughts. I appreciate your nice thoughts. But yeah, all you boomers, you guys are so cashed up. All you 70-year-olds that watch my channel, you're so cashed up. You're like the richest generation in history or something. And I need a joystick. And you watch my channel. Thousands of you watch my channel. So pay up. Cough up, boomers. Cough up. Okay, there's a plane up there. I don't want to climb all the way up there. Now only have 8 enemies. We've lost 2 of them. I think the Germans had some kind of a rule when fighting against the Lavochkin aircraft, like maybe it wasn't specifically the LA5, maybe it was like a later model, like an LA8 or something, if that exists. But they had a rule that was don't engage that plane under 17,000 feet, something like that. Like you had to, if you wanted to have an advantage over it with a Bf109, you had to be at a higher altitude, or else your plane did not have an advantage over it. Like, yeah, the LA5 basically was something like don't try and fight that plane under a certain altitude, or else it's going to win. Like the Luftwaffe actually had some kind of a rule or a law that was don't engage that plane below a certain. I think it was 17,000 feet. So it sounds like that the Luftwaffe planes, for some reason, I'm thinking particularly of the 109, had an advantage over the LA5 at a higher altitude, but on the deck the LA5 was more competitive. Because the design of the planes can be so that with an emphasis on the plane having high performance. Whoops! Oh shit! Either at higher or lower altitude. Am I still going? I'm still going. I just lost a canopy, and the engine's damaged. Oh man, sorry guys, that's terrible. I think the engine's about to fail. So anyways, the Russian plane, the LA5, it has an emphasis on low altitude performance, whereas planes like the 109, I'm not sure where their emphasis is, but I think it's probably more like medium to high altitude performance. So now my planes are convertible. Oh, look at the wing. The wing has such a crack in it. There's a plane up there, by the way. As soon as I pull some G-force, that wing's going to snap off. So I have to be careful about that. So I'm going to engage an enemy fighter here that's attacking the ground with a damaged engine and a left wing that's about to fall off. So it's going to be dangerous. Is that a A-20? It's flying aerobatically. There's 2 planes there now. 3 planes there now. I might climb actually. There's 4 planes, 5 planes, I might climb. There's a yak right there, let's take it on. Hopefully my wing's not going to snap off though, you know. Yep, there goes the wing. Okay, so if I didn't hit that damn tree. So that fight is in the south where the trucks are. I just got to fly west. Oh, Ghost, did you become a member? New member, Ghost. Oh, thank you very much. That's so kind of you. Yeah, I think technically GoFundMe's better because YouTube takes some kind of a fee. Thanks, man. You're so kind. Alright, let's go. I'm going west. I'm going to the tanks and vehicles. There's a lot of enemies there. It's going to take a minute to get there, so hopefully the enemy hasn't finished and gone away or been destroyed by the time I get there. It was a massive attack that it was under. Because if the enemy has 8 planes in total, there's about five planes in the sky there, so half of their planes are there. Any mics you suggest I can buy so I can make better videos? I actually just use, because I have an iPhone 8, it's an old iPhone, I just use the earphones speaker on the iPhone. I find that's a pretty good video. When I'm making videos on BitChute, for example, using my phone, yeah, I just plug in the earphones and I just use that as a mic. And what am I using here? I'm using the mic. This is not a very good mic, but it's all that I've got, but it's okay. This is the microphone on the Razer headphones. The earphone maker Razer, R-A-Z-R. But it used to be better because I dropped it in coffee. I dropped it in my coffee cup and it got soaked in coffee, and then for a couple of weeks the microphone didn't work very well, and it's never been the same since. Well, the enemy's not here, unfortunately. Is the convoy on the ground. Half of it's been destroyed, some of it's on fire down there. Tanks and trucks, half tracks. That's what they were attacking. Now they've attacked in the south. I reckon I can see one of them up ahead. Yeah, there's a plane up. Back up to 80% power. Bunch of planes up there. Alright, so let's go. I'm going to get in there with some altitude this time. They're at the castle. I'm going to climb as I go. Just climb, shallow climb, so that when I get there I'll have some altitude, which will hopefully keep me alive for longer and